Greetings, fellow DC fans. Well, DCEU Summer 2021 now continues on with Wonder Woman. In present-day Paris, Diana Prince receives a photographic plate from Wayne Enterprises of herself and four men taken during World War I, prompting her to recall her past. The daughter Queen Hippolyta, Diana is raised on the hidden island of Themyscira, home to the Amazons, women warriors created by the Olympian gods to protect mankind. Hippolyta explains their history to Diana, including how Ares became jealous of humanity and orchestrated its destruction. When the other gods attempted to stop him, Ares killed all but Zeus, who used the last of his power to wound Ares and force his retreat. Before dying, Zeus gave the Amazons a weapon, the God Killer, to prepare them for Ares' return. Hippolyta reluctantly agrees to let her sister, General Antiope, train Diana as a warrior. In 1918, Diana, now a young woman, rescues U.S. pilot Captain Steve Trevor when his plane crashes off the Themysciran coast. The island is soon invaded by German soldiers who had been pursuing Steve. The Amazons wipe out the German landing force at the expense of heavy losses, with Antiope sacrificing herself to save Diana. Steve is interrogated with the lasso of Hestia and reveals that a great war is consuming the outside world and that he is an Allied spy. He has stolen a notebook from the German's chief chemist, Dr. Isabel Marou, who was attempting to engineer a deadly form of mustard gas under the orders of General Erich Ludendorff. Believing Ares to be responsible for the war, Diana arms herself with the God-Killer's sword, the lasso, and armor before leaving Themyscira with Steve to locate and stop Ares for good. In London, they deliver Marou's notebook to the Supreme War Council, where Sir Patrick Morgan is trying to negotiate an armistice with Germany. Diana translates Marou's notes, revealing that the Germans plan to release the deadly gas at the Western Front. Although forbidden by his commander to act, Steve, with secret funding from Morgan, recruits Moroccan spy Samir, Scottish marksman Charlie, and Native American smuggler Chief Nobby to help prevent the gas from being released. The team reaches the front in Belgium. Diana goes alone through no man's land and captures the enemy trench, liberating the nearby village of Veld with the aid of the Allied forces. The team briefly celebrates, taking a photograph in the village, where Diana and Steve fall in love. The team learns that a gala will be held at the nearby German High Command. Steve and Diana separately infiltrate the party. Steve intends to locate the gas and destroy it, and Diana hopes to kill Ludendorff, believing that he is Ares. Steve stops her to avoid jeopardizing his mission, but this allows Ludendorff to unleash the gas on Veld, killing its inhabitants. Blaming Steve for intervening, Diana pursues Ludendorff to a base where the gas is being loaded into a bomber aircraft bound for London. Diana fights and kills him, but is confused and disillusioned when his death does not stop the war. Sir Patrick appears and reveals himself as Ares. He tells Diana that although he has steadily given humans ideas and inspirations, it's ultimately their decision to resort to violence, as they are inherently corrupt. When Diana attempts to kill Ares with the God-Killer sword, he destroys it, telling Diana that, as the daughter of Zeus and Hippolyta, she herself is the God-Killer. He fails to persuade Diana to help him destroy mankind in order to restore paradise on Earth. While the two battle, Steve's team destroys Marou's laboratory. Steve hijacks the pilot the bomber carrying the poison to a safe altitude and detonates it, blowing up the plane and himself. Ares attempts to direct Diana's rage and grief at Steve's death by convincing her to kill Marou, but the memories of her experiences with Steve cause her to realize that humans have good within them. She spares Marou, redirects Ares' lightning into him, killing him for good. Later, the team celebrates the end of the war. In the present day, Diana sends an email to Bruce Wayne thanking him for the photographic plate of her and Steve. She continues to fight on the world's behalf as Wonder Woman. Nice. So now let's take a look at the production of this movie, beginning with the background. Development for a live-action Wonder Woman feature film began in 1996, with Ivan Reitman attached as producer and possible director. In 1999, the project became attached to John Cohen, who adapted Wonder Woman for producer Joel Silver, with the hope that Sandra Bullock would star. By 2001, Todd Alcott was hired to write the screenplay, with Silver Pictures backing the project. At that time, Mariah Carey and Catherine Zeta-Jones were also rumored to be possible candidates for the role of Wonder Woman. Leonard Goldberg focused on Bullock, who said that she was approached for the role. Lucy Lawless, the star of Xena Warrior Princess, was also under consideration, though she stated that she would have been more interested if Wonder Woman was portrayed as a flawed hero. The screenplay with their various drafts written by Alcott Cohen, Becky Johnson, and Philip Levins, and by August 2003, Levins had been replaced by screenwriter Lita Kalogridis. Sorry if I butchered the pronunciation of that. In March 2005, Warner Brothers and Silver Pictures announced that Joss Whedon would write and direct the film. Early drafts of his screenplay included Steve Trevor as the narrator, a fierce battle between Diana and her mother over Trevor's welfare after leaving Themyscira. They seemed to frequently rescue a Diana rendered helpless by the modern world. Whedon was not able to complete a final version of his screenplay and left the project in 2007. Although Whedon stated in May 2005 that he would not cast the part of Wonder Woman until he finished his script, Kate Beckinsale was linked to the part. In 2010, Whedon admitted that he did have an actress in mind for the part, stating that, quote, Wonder Woman was basically Angelina Jolie. A day before Whedon's departure from Wonder Woman, Warner Brothers and Silver Pictures purchased a spec script for the film written by Matthew Jennison and Brent Strickland. Set during World War II, the script impressed executives at Silver Pictures. However, Silver stated that he had purchased the script because he did not want the rights reverting, while stating that the script had good ideas. Silver did not want the film to be a period piece. That same year, Warner Brothers began development of a Justice League film with Michelle and Karen Mulroney write a screenplay. The film, entitled Justice League Mortal, was to be directed by George Miller and would have featured Wonder Woman in her cinematic debut. Australian model Megan Gale was ultimately cast in the role in January 2008. The film would later be cancelled following production delays and budgetary concerns. By April 2008, Silver hired Jennison and Strickland to write a new script set in contemporary times that would not depict Wonder Woman's origin, but explore Paradise Island's history. And now on to the development. In 2010, Warner Brothers stated that a Wonder Woman film was in development, a long film based on DC Comics superheroes The Flash and Aquaman. Both Wonder Woman and Aquaman were still under consideration for solo film subjects as of June 2013. DC Entertainment President Diane Nelson said Wonder Woman, quote, has been, since I started, one of the top 3 priorities for DC and for Warner Brothers. We are still trying right now, but she's tricky. On October 5, 2013, WB Chairman CEO Kevin Tsujihara said he wanted to get Wonder Woman in film or on TV. Shortly afterward, Paul Feig said he had pitched the studio an idea for Wonder Woman as an action comedy film. The studio then began to search for female directors to direct the film. While Michelle McLaren was the studio's initial choice to direct, and while she initially indicated interest, she eventually left the project due to creative differences. In 2015, Patty Jenkins accepted an offer to direct Wonder Woman, based on a screenplay by Alan Heinberg and a story co-written by Heinberg and Zack Snyder and Jason Fuchs. Screenwriter Alan Heinberg's work had to be finished and rewritten by Jenkins and Jeff Johns after he had left to work on a TV show. Producer Charles Roven said that the duo had done a tremendous amount of collaboration. Johnson was initially given screenplay credit by the studio, but was left out in the official credits by the WGA. Of this version, Godot said, quote, for a long time, people didn't know how to approach the story. When Patty and I had our creative conversations about the character, we realized that Diana can still be a normal woman, one with very high values, but still a woman. She can be sensitive. She is smart and independent and emotional. She can be confused. She can lose her confidence. She can have confidence. She's everything. She has a human heart. This version was conceived as a prequel to the first live-action theatrical appearance of Wonder Woman in the 2016 film Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice, placing Wonder Woman in the 1910s and World War I, a decision which differs from her comic book origins as a supporter of the Allies during World War II. As for story development, Jenkins credits the stories by the character's creator William Marston in the 1940s and George Perez's seminal stories in the 1980s, in which he modernized the character. In addition, it follows some aspects of DC Comics' origin changes in the New 52 reboot, where Diana is the daughter of Zeus. Jenkins cited Richard Donner's Superman as an inspiration. And now on to casting. In late 2013, Zack Snyder cast Gal Gadot in the role of Wonder Woman for the 2016 film Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice, where Elodie Young and Olga Kurylenko, so if I butchered the pronunciation of that. Some fans initially reacted to this choice by criticizing Gadot's appearance. Snyder later commented on his decision to cast Gadot, saying he had tested a, quote, bunch of actresses as you can imagine. But the thing with Gal is that she's strong, she's beautiful, and she's a kind person, which is interesting but fierce at the same time. It's that combination of being fierce but kind at the same time that we were looking for. Gadot described Diana as having, quote, the heart of a human so she could be emotional. She's curious, she's compassionate, she loves people, and then she has the powers of a goddess. She's all for good, she fights for good. She also stated that Diana has, quote, many strengths and powers, but at the end of the day, she's a woman with a lot of emotional intelligence. As to how her character is different from her appearance in Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice, Gadot said, quote, we go back 100 years to when she's more naive, further explaining, she's this young idealist. She's pure. Very different to the experienced, super confident, grown-up woman you've seen. Gadot underwent a diet and training regimen, practiced different martial arts, and gained 17 pounds of muscle for the role. Gadot was previously offered a different role as a villain in Man of Steel, which she declined because she was pregnant at the time. This allowed her to be cast as Wonder Woman in the film's follow-up. Gadot signed a 3-picture deal. She was paid a base salary of $300,000 for the film itself. Chris Pine was cast as Steve Trevor, a character which he described as a, quote, roguish, cynical realist who's seen the awful brutish nature of modern civilization, and added that he is a worldly guy, a charming guy. He signed a multi-picture deal. Lucy Davis's performance as Etta Candy is the first live-action cinematic portrayal of the character. As well, Elena Anaya's performance as Dr. Poison is the cinematic debut of that character. Nicole Kidman was in negotiations for the role of Queen Hippolyta, but was forced to drop out due to scheduling conflicts with Big Little Lies. And now on to the filming. Principal photography on the film began on November 21, 2015, under the working title Nightingale. Among the film sets were Lord Housedow, Kent, and Australia House in England, and the Sassi di Matera, Castel de Monte, and Camerota in southern Italy. Matthew Jensen was the director of photography, filming in the United Kingdom, France, and Italy. Production in London concluded on March 13, 2016. Hatfield House in Hertfordshire, England, was also used as a filming location. On March 20, 2016, filming was underway in Italy. In late April, filming took place at the Louvre Museum in Paris, France, where a Wayne Enterprises truck was spotted alongside Gadot. Principal photography finished on May 9, 2016. Patty Jagas and director of photography Matt Jensen said the film's look was inspired by painter John Singer Sargent. Jenkins says she sought the movie on film instead of digital video, quote, because there's a certain type of epic grandeur escapism that film gives you that you will struggle very hard to get that on video. Reshoots took place in November 2016 when Gadot was 5 months pregnant. A green cloth was placed over her stomach to doubt her pregnancy during post-production. To find the perfect location to shoot the Amazon island of Themyscira, the birthplace of Wonder Woman herself, the film's producers searched all over the world, finding a setting on the Calentin coast, a stretch of coastline on the Tyrrhenian Sea, located in the province of Salerno in southern Italy. It was chosen because most beaches in the world that sit below big cliffs disappear beneath the tide for part of every day. Production designer Eileen Bonetto and her location manager Charles Summers considered 47 countries and visited several of them before they found what they were looking for. Bonetto explained that, quote, Italy had beautiful weather, a beautiful blue-green sea, not too much tide, not too much wave. Our effects team added some cliffs in post-production. It was the perfect way to go. The estuary at Lower Housedown in Kent is featured in the scene in which Diana arrives at a Belgian creek to make her way to the warfront. Bill Westenhofer served as the visual effects supervisor for the film, and Martin Walsh served as editor. And now on to the music. On November 3rd, 2016, Rupert Gregson-Williams was hired to write and compose the film's music. He was shown by Evan Jolly, Tom Ho, Paul Monsey, and Andrew Kosinski, who provided additional music. The soundtrack was released on CD, digital, and vinyl the same day as the film. Australian musician Sia sang a song for the film titled To Be Human, which featured English musician Labyrinth. Written by Florence Welsh and Rick Knowles, the track is also featured on the soundtrack. The soundtrack also features samples from Wonder Woman's theme, Is She With You, from the Batman v Superman Dawn of Justice soundtrack composed by Hans Zimmer and Junkie XL. Additional music featured in the film are Another Little Drink Wouldn't Do Us Any Harm by Cooper Gray and Nat Ayer, and performed by Edgar Trevor and Cecil Cooper. Molly Morgan, written by Fred Godfrey and Will Letters, and performed by Al Redford. It's a Long Way to Tipperary, written by Jack Judge and Harry Williams. Sous les Ponts de Paris, written by Jean Rodor and Vincent Scotto, and performed by Lucien Delay. I'll Walk Beside You, written by Edward Lockton and Alan Murray, and performed by Ewan Bremner. Green Grow the Rushes, written by Robert Burns and performed by Ewan Bremner. And Schutzwalzer OP number 4, written by Johann Strauss II and performed by the Berlin String Quartet. And now, finally, let's look at the cultural impact of the movie. Wonder Woman, according to the BBC, or the cultural impact of the character, Wonder Woman, according to the BBC, had, quote, some thinking it's too feminist and others thinking it's not feminist enough. Cal Killian found an incoherent contradiction in the construction of Wonder Woman as a warrior who, he states, is also highly sexualized. Thus suggests these elements, quote, should not be the focus of a kick-ass heroine, her beauty, bone structure, and sexiness, if she is to be a feminist icon. Theresa Harold concurred, comparing Wonder Woman to Katniss Everdeen of the Hunger Games, who, quote, didn't have to wear a teenager's wet dream of a costume to fight in. Christina Cauterucci also felt that Wonder Woman's ability to be considered a feminist antidote was undermined by her sex appeal. Other critics referred to the construction of Wonder Woman in the film as quote, an impossible post-feminist hero. Jenkins disagreed with this line of critique. She has stated she was raised by a second-wave feminist mother who taught her to be, quote, both super aware that there had to be sexism, but also congratulations, thank you. Now I get to do whatever I want, Mom. Jenkins thus notes that it's this upbringing which has led her to question a feminist critique of Wonder Woman's costume. When she was working on her own version of Wonder Woman's Gladiator redesigned the outfit in the 2016 film Batman v Superman Dawn of Justice, Jenkins decided Wonder Woman, as well as the other Amazons, quote, shouldn't be dressed in armor like men. It should be different. I, as a woman, want Wonder Woman to be hot as hell, fight badass, and look great at the same time. The same way men want Superman to have huge pecs and an impractically big body. Jenkins also notes that she is, quote, frustrated by the critique of Wonder Woman's appearance, stating, quote, when people get super critical about her outfit, who's the one getting crazy about what a woman wears? That's who she is. That's Wonder Woman. Gal Gadot concurred with Jenkins, arguing that the character is a feminist, as, quote, feminism is about equality and choice and freedom, and the writers, Patty and myself, all figured that the best way to show that is to show Diana as having no awareness of social roles. She has no gender boundaries. To her, everyone is equal. Critic Valerie Estelle Frankel supported Jenkins' vision. Frankel argues that the film subverts the male gaze, saying that the construction of Wonder Woman tends to shift every few decades as it reflects the state of feminism during different time periods, including third wave feminism, which reflects Jenkins' approach. Zoe Holmes offers a similar argument, saying that while Wonder Woman, quote, is sort of naked a lot of the time, that is not at the same time. Objectification is so much as a cultural reset. Having thighs, actual thighs you can kick things with, not thighs that look like arms, is a feminist act. Williams then juxtaposes Wonder Woman with past female action heroes Sarah Connor, Ellen Ripley, and Laura Croft, in which she suggests were all constructed for the male gaze, in which a, quote, female warrior becomes a sex object, a point which she argues that Jenkins directly references in the film. Gloria Steinem also liked the film, saying that she felt it made, quote, the Amazon origin story clear. Wonder Woman was stopping war and not perpetuating it. Steinem also noted that she knew, quote, some women were disappointed by all the makeup, but I may be desperate. I was just happy that the Amazons had wild hair. Her only complaint choice to eliminate World War II as a setting, the Wonder Woman comic book developed in response to existing comics that were, quote, so sadist and racist that there was a congressional hearing on the subject. Steinem also gave Hillary Clinton the first Wonder Woman Award in October 2017 during the Women's Media Center's Speaking Truth to Power Awards, an organization created by Steinem, Jane Fonda, and Robin Morgan. Upon receiving the award, Clinton noted that she had seen Jenkins' Wonder Woman film and that she, quote, loved the outfit. She'll say that her granddaughter was really keen on Wonder Woman. Clinton, quote, thought maybe I could borrow something from her for the night. It didn't quite work for me, but I will say this award means a lot to me because as a little girl, and then as a young woman, and then as a slightly older woman, I always wondered when Wonder Woman would have her time, and now that has happened. Clinton had previously played Jenkins' film in a public August 2017 message, saying that, quote, it was just inspirational and, as I suspected, a movie about a strong, powerful woman in fight to save the world from international disaster could be. Director James Cameron continued this debate, through his critique of the representation of female power in Jenkins' film. In an August 2017 interview with The Guardian, Cameron qualifies Jenkins' version of Wonder Woman as quote, an objectified icon, called the film a step backwards. In contrast, he states, his character Sarah Connor from Terminator films, quote, was not a beauty icon. She was strong, she was troubled, she was a terrible mother, and she earned the respect of the audience through pure grit. Jenkins stated in response that Cameron's, quote, inability to understand what Wonder Woman is, or stands for, to women all over the world is unsurprising as, though he is a great filmmaker, he is not a woman. She further argued, quote, there is no right and wrong kind of powerful woman, because if women have to always be hard, tough, and troubled to be strong, and we aren't free to be multidimensional or celebrate an icon of women everywhere because she is attractive and loving, then haven't come very far, have we? Reaction to this debate was mixed. Julie Mayer sided with Cameron, whom she states refers to herself as, quote, a pretty hardcore feminist, and told Vulture that, quote, I have no problem writing a script in which the males become subservient to the females, which happens in Aliens, as up to Ripley to win the day. In contrast, Miller argues that Jenkins and Godot envisioned Wonder Woman as, quote, a woman who exuded both femininity and strength, with genuine confusion as to why men would treat women differently than they do other men. Susanna Breslin also agreed with Cameron, describing Jenkins' Wonder Woman as, quote, a playmate with a lasso and female power with no balls. Others were more critical of Cameron's critique. An article in Newsweek suggests that in contrast to his criticism of Jenkins, Cameron's own films include, quote, a lot of objectification, and quotes a few Hollywood celebrities who echo this view. One of the quotes came from Jesse McLaren, who states that, quote, James Cameron's just confused that there's a female hero whose motivations are centered around motherhood. Noah Berlatsky found areas of agreement with both Cameron and Jenkins, saying that while Cameron's objection is, quote, an old point that's been made over and over for decades, Jenkins' film is not, quote, solely focused on objectifying Gal Gadot for a male audience. A few weeks later in September, Cameron reiterated his criticism in an interview with Hollywood Reporter. He compared Gal Gadot's representation of the character of Raquel Welch in films in the 1960s, and reinforced a comparison with Linda Hamilton's portrayal of Sarah Connor. He argued that Connor was, quote, if not ahead of its time, at least a breakthrough in its time, because though she looked great, she wasn't treated as a sex object. He also said that while he, quote, applauds Patty for directing the film and Hollywood letting a woman direct a major action franchise, I didn't think there was anything groundbreaking in Wonder Woman. I thought it was a good film, period. Former Wonder Woman actress Linda Carter responded to Cameron's The Hollywood Reporter interview by asking him to, quote, Stop dissing Wonder Woman. Like Jenkins, she suggests that Cameron does not understand the character. That while Cameron does not understand the character, she does. She also refers to Cameron's critiques as, quote, thuggish jabs at a brilliant director that are as ill-advised as the movie was spot on. Card also states that she has the authority to make these observations because she has embodied the character for more than 40 years. A month later, Jenkins responded to Cameron's comments once again in an interview with Variety, stating that she, quote, was not upset at all, as, quote, everybody's entitled to their own opinion, but if we're going to debate something in a public way, I have to reply that I think it's incorrect. Trisha Ennis was also critical of Cameron's statements, arguing that, quote, while he may consider himself a feminist and ally to women, he's not very good at it. As being an ally means using his position of privilege, quote, without silencing the voices of those who are trying to help. She also states that it, quote, is not enough to simply call yourself a feminist. It's not enough to create a strong female character. You have to bring women to the table. You have to let them speak. You can't speak for them. But speaking for a woman is exactly what Cameron is doing through his comments. Cameron is using his position of power as a respected producer and director to silence women. Ooh, dang. So overall, I really, really enjoy this movie. And as a matter of fact, it's probably the first film in this franchise that I actually really, really liked. So, actually, I didn't like it. I loved it. So, there you go. So, overall, I give Wonder Woman 5 Superman capes out of 5. Well, anyway, tune in next time for the conclusion of DCEU Summer 2021 as we take a look at the theatrical cut of Justice League. So, until then, in the words of Superman, I'm here to fight for truth, justice, and a better tomorrow.